Ebony Janice Moore.
Shouting.
Hey, hey, and we in here. Hey, hey. So where shall we start? You start. Let me start. Okay. I'm so excited because you will be coming, I guess, home. Ohio's home. Ohio's home. Um, on May 23rd for your book release, which we are making a complete Many Ways Productions weekend. And so you got to tell me about this book. Well, I don't even know if we want to dig in right there, or do we want to tell people the history of our relationship?
I mean, let's introduce people to who we are. My name is Ebony Janice Moore. I was born in Sandusky, Ohio. So I was doing quote fingers about home because I have lived out of Ohio now for pretty much since I've been out of high school for the most part. So however long that's been. And so I've lived in Atlanta on and off for about 10 years. So, you know, ATL Shouty, I do represent that. But
Really?
yeah, I do. I absolutely do represent.
Okay. So you don't represent the dusk no more?
Honey, I haven't represented the dusk. I've certainly never called it the dusk. Let's start there.
Okay.
But, you know, I am a blue streak at heart.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. But I don't know that I've ever represented Sandusky like that. That's not true. One time when I went to University of Cincinnati, Bruce came to campus and everybody was like yelling out their city. So people like Cleveland, Akron, and I was like, Sandusky, Bruce.
You did that?
I did.
You probably shouldn't have.
It was a large comedic moment for the school. Not you represent Sandusky like that, ma'am. Have a seat.
I'm sure. You know, because
Bruce.
Right, because even to this day, anytime I mention Sandusky, they be like Cedar Point.
Exactly.
It is actually Cedar Point is in Sandusky, Ohio. It is not Cedar Point, Ohio.
I've certainly grown up like living out of Ohio now, and pretty much everybody like that does know about Sandusky. It is a Cedar Point thing, or like you grew up under the blue streak. You like just foolishness like that.
No, here's the best one when they say, what's your mascot? Or what's the name of your high school? That's embarrassing.
Sandusky High School, Streaky Bear.
The Blue Streaks.
The Blue Streaks, yeah. Streaky Bear. So Marquita and I have been friends since 1983.
Basically.
Here we are.
Here we are in 2015. You do the math, you'll know our age.
You really want me to like tell the story of really how long we've known each other for real?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So when Marquita and I, so we're from this small town, and once you get to sixth grade and up, everybody goes to the same school.
Right.
We went to different elementary schools, and we knew of each other because of church stuff, but didn't really know each other for real until sixth grade, middle school, and Marquita.
Wait a minute! Wait, I'm scared about what you're about to say.
I was scared of Marquita. I was, because Marquita ain't always been this saved.
Ooh, but aren't you glad he's a great guy?
Somebody. Marquita ain't always been this saved. Now, this is the thing that I'm gonna say about Marquita though. She didn't cause trouble. She didn't bother nobody.
See, she's trying to rhyme though. Don't let her.
That's the truth though. She didn't cause trouble. She didn't bother nobody. But if you step to her, know that Punk stepped up to get beat down.
Oh my God.
So therefore, I was scared of Marquita. So what I did was Marquita became my ally.
Okay, so let's be clear though. Let's be clear. Nobody ever saw me fight. I'll wait.
Marquita, is this true?
This is true. Nobody ever saw me fight. Did Ebony? Have you ever seen me fight?
I don't know. I'm thinking about somebody else. I ain't gonna say that young lady's name on.
No, we're not putting nobody else's name in this. The fact of the matter is, we've been friends for a very long time.
A very long time, and I've loved her dearly, pretty much all my life. I mean, because I think about the 6th grade, that's forever. So yeah, so we've been friends for a long time.
And Ebony was always my hopeful because I wanted to be a cheerleader.
Well, that's a cheerleader.
I always wanted to be a cheerleader, but I wasn't really physically ready for that opportunity. So
we threw all of those smiles and hard grins and jumps.
I cheered really loud from my seat. Matter of fact, I remember graduating, and one of the teachers was like, "I'm just gonna miss how enthusiastic you were at the games," because I was louder than the cheerleaders.
You meant business, Marquita.
Anyways.
So yeah, it's been years. Here we are, years later, still. The thing that I appreciate about that, though, is because I haven't necessarily stayed in touch with a lot of people from our graduating class.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than through Facebook, you know what I'm saying? But that can be kind of superficial sometimes. So I really appreciate, like, the fact that we've kind of gone in, just in 2 different places, 2 different directions in many ways, but still, like, just have the common thread of being from the same place and loving God. And I mean, Marquita, are you posting about this event, or are you on the phone with your boo or something?
I'm posting about the event. I'm trying to take a picture.
That smile looked like a boo smile to me. I don't know.
Thanks. All right, then. Anyway, so no, it wasn't no boo smile. All right. I'm trying to get stuff done over here. You know, you got to be a multitasker these days.
I'm just saying it looked like slightly like a boo smile. So I just gotta check in on you sometimes.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm good, people.
You really denied this shit got no boo though.
What?
So
that's fine. Let's just move on forward. So, Ebony. So May 23rd, you'll be here in the great city of Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. First of all, let me say how excited. 1, 2, I am beyond proud of you. Your book. Tell us about your book.
This book is my 4th published book. It's called The End of Thirstiness. Lessons on Rejecting Desperation, Being Whole, Free, Single, and Satisfied. And the book came from just having a revelation of my own thirstiness. I was talking to my roommate late last year about, I don't even remember exactly specifically what we were talking about, but I remember saying, we be being so thirsty. Like that's what I said. I was like, I should write a book and I should call it We Be Being So Thirsty, because really, like, it's difficult, to like just come out and acknowledge that that's what it is, like that you have been operating in like thirst. That's difficult to, but it's really like the first step
to say that. Nobody wants to really say that.
Nobody want to acknowledge that they've been being thirsty, but it's really the first step to be like, okay, I'm not about to keep, just operating in this. I call it a spirit of thirst and dehydration. Like, just need
not just thirst, but dehydration.
Dehydration, just needing. So yeah, so that's where the idea of the book came from. So it's kind of started as a joke, like just, like I'm gonna write this book. But as I really started to write down just my thoughts on different subjects pertaining to singleness and the fact that it's not a curse, just understanding that it is equally a blessed place as marriage. And I had never connected with that prior to this season of my life. I actually sat down at some point during this time frame and had a conversation with a girlfriend of both of ours, an older sister that I'm certain that we both can claim as mentor and friend and big sister, Cater's Minds of My Vicarious Life. Absolutely. And we sat down. I did an interview with her for my YouTube channel, and she just really broke down like what it looks like to live your life to the fullest from this place of singleness, and how certainly what was different for her that I'm sure was different for me. I'm not sure, you know, what your story was, but that when she was younger, her mother gave that as an option. Like, if you don't want to get married, you don't have to. Like, that also is an option. And for me, what I really talk about a lot surrounding this idea of the end of thirstiness is that our culture really promotes, like, go to college and then, you know, meet somebody there and then settle down. And they don't really give as much energy to this idea of, like, live your life and travel and do things and become and figure out who you are. So that was a powerful conversation for me. And so that really just propelled me into, like, I really do want to walk through this season for myself and see what it looks like for me to be able to empower other people into, you know, taking off this coat of thirstiness.
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to go back before we get too deep into it. I want you to pause for a second, because you said that basically the single life is just as, I'll just say, I'm paraphrasing, rewarding as the marriage life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Okay. Because we just gonna jump in. So oftentimes I think that married people forget that they were once single once they get married, and life now is sweet and my joy is complete because I'm married. Mm-hmm. You know, and they forget, like, you know, oh, you need a husband, but you only, from my friendships, I have a lot of friends who are married.
Yeah.
And I respect their relationships. I respect their marriages. I also respect that I have those friends who are real enough not to share all of their business, and I respect that because I don't want to know. But share enough with me to show the side that marriage is great. Enjoy your singleness. You know what I mean? Like, they will share. I love my wife. I love my husband. Enjoy while you're single, right? But they also share marriage is not a piece of cake. Mm-hmm. You know, and oftentimes I feel like a lot of people try to paint this picture that marriage is flowers and pastures and blue skies all the time. Mm-hmm. You know? And so I want you to go back a little bit, because I don't want people to feel like, oh, well, she's just single and that's it. That's not for everybody. Right. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is not meant to stay single, but everybody ain't meant to be married either.
Mm-hmm. I ultimately, what I said was that singleness is equally a blessed place as marriage.
That's what you said.
So the idea is to say, this isn't being anti-marriage. This is just being inclusive of being pro-singleness. So what that means is that when our culture, because I want to talk about it really from a cultural perspective, because it really is socialized into us that marriage is like, when you get married, you've reached some place of, like, you've arrived. Yeah, like, you've arrived. And not, so you're so busy trying to get to marriage that you miss out on, like, this really beautiful place of singleness and really becoming, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I think about, I've been in, you know, probably 2 serious relationships in my adult life. And both of those relationships, there was serious conversation, if not, you know, like, on the way to marriage. And if I would have been married to either of those people, honey, either somebody would be dead, in jail.
Not dead.
Dead. Somebody would be dead, in jail, or certainly there would be divorce, because, like, just had not become yet. So I say that just to say it is good for me that I went through those various trials. You know what I'm saying? Like, that I was, you know, broken, and, you know, God shaped me from those places and allowed me to really become, you know, I bless God for that. I bless God that should I get married anytime soon, but should I get married, I will be getting married from a place of, like, more maturity. I'll be getting married from a place of, like, just knowing a little bit more about myself than I did, you know, 5-10 years ago. And I had an experience, actually, and I'll just share this. In my last relationship, when the relationship was over, we both have drastically in the past several years become two completely different people. And so I think to myself, one of two things. Number one, would we have become the people that it is that we are becoming if we were together? And I think, and I'm glad that I am becoming who it is that I'm becoming. So that's number one. But number two, if I were in that relationship still and we had gotten married and I have become the person that I am becoming, he would have the right to look at me and say, this is not what I signed up for. I don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? So all that to say, I think that singleness is a really blessed place to really figure out who you really are, what you really want, what you really desire, what you're really passionate about, what you really believe. It's really a beautiful place to really go and travel. When you get married and you have children, so many of my married friends, they're like, they wish that they could travel and do the things that it is that I can do because I don't have to answer to anybody. The only thing that I got to do as a single person is figure out what I'm going to do with this when it's time to go.
Look at him.
That's it. Well, I throw him on the ground.
Now you got to be careful because remember my dog Manson?
I'm not going to deal with this.
Yes, you are. Life just ain't the same.
Life just ain't the same.
First of all, I have not had a dog since him. I'm glad to know that I'll see him again because I baptized him in Jesus' name, and so
good night. Good night.
I'm glad that I'll get to see him again. But I know how it is because when I would travel and when I had my dog. Being single, I travel. I stay gone. And my friends used to say, you're going to have to slow down, when you get married and you have kids. Right. When that happens, right now, I don't got to slow down. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I can leave for days, and be gone. Mm-hmm. My family might say, you could have called and said, told us you was okay. Mm-hmm. But, I do know that I had to find a babysitter and I had to make sure that my son, he was gonna be all right.
Rest in peace, baby. Rest in peace. Nah, B, that's real though. Cause when you get married, like there's somebody outside of yourself that you have to consider. And that's not a bad thing, but it's just looking at it from the other side of it. Like understand that it is a blessed place right now that you don't have to consider those things, that you can still go and travel and, whatever. So all that to say, when I said that singleness is equally as a blessed place as marriage is, I feel like from a cultural perspective, that's not something that we were taught. We weren't taught that in the church, the way that we were raised. Nobody was like putting emphasis on like how beautiful life can be as a single person when you just walking through, experiences and learning and becoming and really just falling in love with yourself. And
I'm going to even go a step further with that one. And we won't stay on this too long because we want people to make sure that they come on Saturday, May 23rd at 12 noon at the Northland Performing Arts Center. That information will be posted on my website, www.manywaysproductions.com. And that's MINNIWAYS productions.com. May 23rd. But it's crazy because, and I truly thank God for my pastor. He did an event not long ago, he and the First Lady, called Relationships. And oftentimes we in the church, it's almost like the ladies are taught to wait. He'll come and gotta send him. But we're never really taught to, and I'm about to step on some toes, so I'm sure we'll have to really dig into this. But we're never really taught to, you may have to travel. You may have to go outside of your 4 church walls. And your husband may be outside of your 4 church walls. And let's be clear, when my pastor said this, I could have put a $20 bill.
Nope.
And went on about my business and left. But he said, the unfortunate part is, what they also don't tell you is, if you dating him, so has your friend and your other friend who go to the church because y'all all waiting on the same person.
Marquita, you cannot have this conversation because my ex-boyfriend and I went to the same church together. And when we broke up, very shortly thereafter, he started dating a girl on the dance team and sitting in the same seats that we sat in when we were together for 3.5 years.
Anyways, but the truth is the truth.
Oh, honey.
You know what I'm saying? And I love them. I love them. No, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. So that absolutely is actual and factual. It might be wisdom.
Listen, I told you when he said it, I was like, sir, do you understand? Now, don't get me wrong. I love my people from back at home. Again, we'll keep all names to ourselves. But we all dated each other, basically.
Well,
you know, the guys dated the girls dated the guys, and then twitch.
Well,
now, of course, that also comes with, you know, we're young and immature. But, you know,
my experience was as an adult. So there's that.
That's another story. Anyway, but I said all of that to say, you know, what's wrong with going to a theater? What's wrong with going, like when I say a theater, like to an actual like Broadway show? Mm-hmm. Your husband might be there. You know, I'm just saying sometimes we in the church, we've never really been taught to go explore. You know what I mean? It's don't go here, don't go there, stay here. And how many women are still in the church at their church waiting? Mm-hmm.
I would talk about that in the thirstiness. I talk about the reality of just, you know, figuring out what it was that I really wanted, figuring out what my standards really were. I'm not talking about writing a long list of like, he gotta look like Idris, he gotta, you know, like not that. Even though, you know, God, you know my heart. but I'm saying just knowing what, you know, what is really important to me. And when I really got an understanding of the things that I really value in a relationship, that I really feel are important in a relationship, I thought to myself, you know what, the earth is big. Huge. It is big. Mm-hmm. And my husband, just the kind of person that I am, which that's the good thing about really being in my singleness and becoming. The good thing about, you know, who I am is that my husband very well may not be from this country.
Okay, so I'm about to throw a piece out there. And again, we can't dig too much into it because I really want people to be able to come and we dig deeper there.
Scared already.
Dating outside of your race. Are you open to it?
I think that people should date whoever it is that they feel like they can love. And I don't have a problem with it. As for me and my house, we love the stank off of a black man. I mean, I like to just sit back sometimes and just watch him walk. I just want to know what song they listening to when they walk. They just so fresh. And I love it. But that's just for me and my house. We gonna serve the Lord in that way.
You know, okay, I'm about to pull out a name simply because it's me and you, and I know no disrespect to him or his fiance, but Ron Hyle was everybody's
boo,
white boy crush, boo, bae, high school. Matter of fact, dare I say, when we went back to our high school reunion, everybody was like, "For real?"
That's my boo.
You know what I mean? So everybody has had one of those little crushes. Like, I wonder.
My second boyfriend was a white boy. This is 6th grade that we're talking about, so I don't really know.
Does that count?
I don't know. He's my boyfriend. We went together. We didn't go anywhere together, but he was my boyfriend.
Right. I went together.
Yeah.
Where were we go? When people say we go together, where y'all going? Where did you go?
To recess. I don't know, girlfriend. But yeah, so I think, but I do think that we do have to, you know, just have our hearts open that he may very well come in a way that we weren't not necessarily expecting. And that is another thing, like, I feel like has been socialized into us. Like, we get our mindset on, like, it's going to look like this. It's going to be like this. It's going to come like this in this package. And I don't necessarily, I believe that God will give us the desires of our hearts, but I also believe that we oftentimes don't even know what's best for us. Even though I've had some heartbreak, I can't say negative things about the people that I have been in serious relationships with from that sense, because I feel like, that was a blessing. I didn't even know some of those things, that some of the qualities that I got in those relationships from those particular people. I feel like, God, thank you for allowing me to experience that, because I didn't even know I needed that. I didn't even know to ask for that. You know what I'm saying? So just being open for what God has.
That's very valid. One thing that God gave me the revelation on, for me, this may not be for everybody else, but in my opinion, there's not really a bad relationship, because now there are bad things that could happen within that relationship, but it was to show you what maybe you don't want in your next relationship, or what you do want in the good relationship that may not have worked. And I remember a very good friend of mine who's like a brother. I remember when he was dating another friend of mine, and thank God I have a whole bunch of friends, so nobody knows who I'm talking about. But when he came to me and told me that he was interested in her, the very first thing I said to him, I said, if you both start dating, you make sure that everything that you do, I said, if it doesn't work out, you make sure that whomever the next man is that comes in her life has to go over and beyond to outdo you. Because I knew he was a great guy, and I knew she was a great girl. For whatever reason that they didn't work out, it didn't work out. But I feel like, in those types of relationships, it does set your bar a little higher. It does, create a better standard. And even in those relationships where maybe you've been physically abused or verbally abused, then hopefully in your mind, you have it then set, I'm not going to deal with that in my next relationship. And we pay attention to those red flags from day one instead of ignoring them. And so I think that's
exactly what I talk about in regards to the thirstiness. The thirstiness, like, I know that that's a popular, pop cultural phrase or whatever, like, she was being thirsty or he's thirsty or whatever. But the reality is, thirstiness to me is just this energy of wanting, just this constantly like wanting and needing. And like, there's something outside of yourself that's going to come in and quench your thirst or satisfy you. And so that's what happens. We'll be in relationships, and because of thirst, we will accept and participate far past the point of, being in a productive or a healthy situation because of thirstiness. I would rather have this little piece of a thing than be by myself. I would rather continue to participate, even though this doesn't make me feel safe. This doesn't make me feel valued. This doesn't make me feel comfortable, whatever it is. And so I was acknowledging, just from my own experiences, that pretty much every relationship, except for one relationship, pretty much every relationship that I had ever been in, I talked myself into that relationship. That person was giving me attention. And even though I wasn't initially interested, something inside of me was like, am I being too picky? Am I being too choosy? But there were signs from jump in each of those situations that this probably isn't God's best for you. This probably is something that, y'all could probably be good friends, but, so all that to say, I think that it's important to really acknowledge like this energy of want, this energy of need, like somebody outside of you is going to come and satisfy this thirstiness or this emptiness or whatever. And there's only one thing that can satisfy that, and that's knowledge of God and knowledge of self. Like, you got to get for yourself, that only God can please this place. Only God can satisfy this place.
Tell me, how can we get your book? Like, how can we purchase your book before the event so that we can read it and so that our guests will have questions? How do we get your book?
You can go to thefreepeopleproject.com and just visit my store from there, or it says products. It probably says products. I haven't been to the website today. I don't know what it says. It's constantly time is filled with swift transitions. But yeah, you can go to the website, www.thefreepeopleproject.com.
Okay.
And the book is there, and it's just 10 chapters of really just pouring out what it looks like. I deal with like literally the breakup to Chapter 2 is I've got to stop stalking you. It's about disengaging from, social media after the relationship ends, like realizing this, the culture that we live in, it's like, that's a whole new level of like breaking up and still lingering, in those old places. Chapter 3 is get over your ex by moving on to your next. The next chapter is which I don't think that is an acceptable thing.
Don't worry, I was going back to it.
The next chapter is keep your mother freaking chakras open, which I really break down. Like, yes, I really break down just spiritually, like being healed, whole person, like dealing with soul stuff. So I teach on the fact that we're a 3-part man, but we really neglect the soul. It's the most neglected part of ourselves. We'll try to be physically well, we'll try to be spiritually well, but we don't really deal with the soul space. So that's what keep your mother freaking chakras open. This is about, like, after you end a relationship, especially if there has been sexual relations at some point in that relationship, really breaking those soul ties, really dealing with it from a holistic perspective. So that's what that chapter is about. In the meantime, which I don't really like that because in the meantime suggests that like there's something better than your current condition, but I really want to deal with like what it looks like to just be okay in your singleness, to live your life like it's golden, to really walk through these spaces and grow and become, and to love yourself, and to deal with all the stuff that has, prevented you from being able to be whole in the last relationship, so that you are better should you desire to be married in the future. The next chapter is the miracle of a memory, which TD Jakes preached to me so good that my future is not connected. My destiny is not connected to those that left. And the time that when I heard that sermon, that preached to me so good. And I really was able to really connect with some memories that I have from past relationships that I, had gone back to several times, kept going back. And the Lord reminded me of that, like, you really need to get a memory and keep that memory on repeat. And there's one particular story that I tell about. I had an ex-boyfriend that when I started dating the next guy, I mean, he just was giving me energy. I gotta have you. And I said to him, if you do X, Y, and Z, we can talk about possibly being together again. And he said to me, and I quote, he said, "No way." He said, "No way." Very reasonable things that I asked him for. He said, "No way." And so every time I would think about going back to that situation, I would think to myself, something would come up in my spirit, and I'll be like, you know what? He said, "No way." Because he tried it. I mean, for years and years and years, that was the thing. It was like the thorn in my flesh. So I talk about the miracle of a memory. It's a very powerful thing. The next chapter is the gift of goodbye, learning how to walk away, learning that it is a blessing to be able to close doors, because closed doors give room for open doors. And I mean, just beautiful experiences that I have had with learning how to, to close doors and to walk away. And then the last chapter is intentional action. And the intentional action is for any person that reads this book that does want to be in a relationship in the future. It's about, really becoming the person that you want to be in a relationship with. So for me, myself personally, I believe that I deserve a jet. I got stuff to do. I got places to go.
That's right.
Honey. But if I'm not currently living jet, then why do I want something? Why do I want a man to show up and I don't have stuff that, he would be attracted to? Like we don't match. Or I use it, very kind of shallow example. If I want a man with some abs, at the very least, I can be acting like I'm trying to get some, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like there are a lot of people that want to be in unrealistic relationships. You want to attract somebody into your life to come and be all these amazing things, and you don't have basic stuff together. Like,
that's good.
So intentional action is really about like being in a place of, I do want to be in a relationship. So let me start looking like the relationship that I want to be in.
Yeah, that's good. So do me a favor. Repeat that website one more time.
It's www.thefreepeopleproject.com.
Okay. So make sure everybody, you just go buy the book. Go buy the book. On Saturday, May 23rd. The event starts at 12 noon. Saturday, May 23rd, 12 noon at the Northland Performing Arts Center. Like I said to you before, I'm going to make sure that it's on my website. The website for sure is, I don't know if it's on my lower third or not yet. It should be. Hopefully it'll pop up there soon in a minute. Anyway, www.minywavesproductions.com. It's also on the YouTube channel here. I'll make sure it's there. I'll make sure Ebony's website is on there. Go buy the book. The book is what, $10, $15?
$10, I think.
$10. $10 is definitely worth the investment. Definitely so into this this project. She will be here in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to talk more. We're going to get into the deep, good stuff. Couldn't give it all to you today. Come on now. We're not going to do that. But I'm excited. And, you know, we can have this conversation for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I'm excited too, because I just feel like what we're going to do on the 23rd is really get into the chapters and really workshop the book. First of all, the book is so pretty. It's just pretty.
Look at the book. It's so nice. Look at it.
Yeah, but really workshop the book. And what that means is that we're going to go through and really pull out some of the conversations that we really need to have. Even though this conversation isn't just for women, and it isn't even just for single people, because I've had several married people read the book and say to me, Ebony, this book, you got the word single in that title, but this book really impacted me. I had one married woman tell me that she realized that she had been being thirsty in her marriage, like just having an expectation of her husband that was just not acceptable. And I think that a lot of married people do that. You get married in a place of thirstiness, not realizing that you were expecting your husband to be your best friend, be your bodyguard, be your protector, be your comforter, be your provider. Do you understand that those are all titles that belong to the Father up in heaven? Titles belong to your husband. And so so it's important that and that's the subtitle is Lessons on Rejecting Desperation, Being Whole, Free, Single, and Satisfied, because I think it's important for people, if you are going to be married, to be a whole, free person, because nobody can be all things to you. At some point, your husband or your wife is going to do something that disappoints you, and you still got to be a whole person where you can keep moving forward and not be broken and not feel like, you know, just this desperation of like, I need you. No, what you need is to be satisfied in God, to be satisfied in yourself. And then that just makes those relationships all the better. So even though
I think it's also valid to say that it's not also for only just women.
Yeah.
Well, we want men there too. I have a lot of male friends who seem to always, we get into this dialogue, and I'm like, we'll keep going back and forth because I'm a woman, you're a man. You know what I mean? But it's great dialogue, it's great conversation. But I want to make sure that everybody knows that everybody is welcome. Single, married, male, female. We want you there. Come kick it with us. It's only gonna be for a couple of hours. We'll have some refreshments there. Not food, but refreshment. But we want you there. Buy the book. If you don't get the book now, definitely get the book at the event. So make sure you bring some money. We want to make sure that Ebony walks away. We don't want no books left. I'm just gonna put it out there. We don't want no books left. When she go back to Atlanta, she's gonna be bookless because we bought them all.
Amen.
So you know, make sure you come. Again, there's my website there. I'll have all the information on the screen. And let me throw this out there real fast. This is a Many Waves Productions weekend. So Friday night at 6:30. Doors open up at 6:30. I'll be premiering the premiere and screening of my documentary Skin, Born with It. Listen, with everything that is going
things in these streets.
You said what?
Doing big things in these streets, daughter.
Man, listen. Honestly, the conversation has to happen. You know what I mean? It's open to the public. Seating is limited, but at this time, I don't care if we have standing room only. I want the room to be packed out. We're gonna view the documentary, and then we're going straight into discussion, Q&A. We have a great moderator, Miss Kayla Simone Griffin. She'll be there. We have the panel, those who are part of the documentary. Community leaders are going to be there. Just come. We got everything that's going on in Baltimore, across the world. Let's talk about it. Ebony, I believe you'll be there as well. You're gonna come in. Try to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure Miss Ebony gonna have a lot to say too. Let's go. I'm excited. I'm excited. Anything else, Eb, that you wanna add before we end?
No, I'm excited about the opportunity to be connected with Many Ways Productions. I'm just so proud of you, Marquita, and everything that you're doing. And I think it's important just for us to support one another, because somebody told me a long time ago, you know, we do a really good job of supporting and quoting T.D. Jakes and Joyce Myers and people of that nature. But the reality is we're from a community of people that are just, I mean, we have wisdom, and we need to be able to pour into one another and sow into one another so that, you know, God will continue to give us opportunities and platforms to share the wisdom that God has given us. So I support you and everything that you do. And I just bless God that you continue to support me. And I'm looking forward to being there on the 23rd of May. I ain't gonna look like this when I get back. My haircut gonna be fresh. I'm coming back. I'm going to South Africa in a couple days. So I'll be there literally just getting back into the country. So I'm gonna be burnt and crispy, but I'm gonna be there.
Talk about me doing big things. I'm on my way international. I haven't gotten there yet.
Come on, girl.
You tell us real quick. Give me 1 full minute of what this South Africa trip is about.
Oh, listen. So I have been doing missions for some time now. My main heart is here in the States, is to feed people, because people need food and water. But I went to Kenya a couple years ago, to Nyahururu, Kenya, which is probably about 3 hours outside of Nairobi. And we served in missions. We created a mentoring program for girls called the Free People Project, called the Free Girl Initiative. And it's underneath the Free People Project, which is my organization. And so this time I'm going to South Africa with my best friend. And it honestly was not initially a missions trip, but my bishop has prophesied and spoken to my life about the work that we're going to do while we're there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to do. You know, of course, we're going to see the Mandela and, you know, and the jail and all of that. And more than likely do some work in Soweto, and just excited about that. But really, I'm just trusting God for just open doors and just more opportunities to travel and share God's word and share, really, you know, my ultimate message is really just about freedom. The Bible says, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And that free indeed piece is really important to me, because I feel like so many of our people live in so much bondage, you know, bondage to society, bondage to what the church said, bondage to religion, and not really living the free indeed that God has promised us. So that's what South Africa's really about.
Well, we cover you. We cover you under the blood, you and those who will be traveling with you. We pray for protection.
Mm-hmm.
We pray that God's glory goes with you. It pushes you to, it opens new doors, that this is just the beginning. And truly, that is my prayer, that God's protection is with you, and it goes with you through the flight, through the travel, that you have a safe return home, an awesome time while you're there. You come on back so we can keep working. And I appreciate your support and everything that you're doing to support me and everything else. Again, before we close out, Friday, May 22nd, Saturday, May 23rd. Mark your calendars. We'll be here in Columbus, Ohio, making it happen. Ebony, thank you so much for this time.
Thank you, Marquita. I love you too much.
I love you to the moon and back. People, again, everything you need to know will be on at the bottom of this YouTube, in the description, YouTube clip, I guess, in the information section. So make sure you get the book. Make sure you go to the website and find out all the information. We appreciate you for tuning in live to Friends, or Foolishness with Friends. I guess that's what we're going to keep calling it.
And we'll see her on the 23rd. And honestly, I've been very tame because I'm at my mama's house right now. But we're really going to cut up on the 23rd. So definitely come out. We're looking forward to seeing you.
It is going down. All right, we'll see you all soon.